catch up, give you our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Craig Stammen. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. As today the Padres take on the Minnesota Twins in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Twins, left-hander Connor Prelip, and for the Padres, right-hander Randy Vasquez. Hi, good everybody. Sam Levitt with you from inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. First pitch is coming up at 6:40 p.m. as the Padres begin this 6-game homestand. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, as always, we have a lot to do. You'll hear from Padres manager Craig Stammen, from third baseman Manny Machado, closer Mason Miller, rehabbing starting pitcher Joe Musgrove, and we check in with Jesse Agler inside the Padres radio booth in just a few minutes. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Well, these two teams currently sit in the third wild card spot in their respective leagues. Padres, of course, in the NL, the Twins in the American League. Padres come in 68-60. They just went 3-3 on a 6-game road trip through Cleveland and New York to play the Mets. Even though the Padres lost 2 out of 3 in New York, the Padres have still won 18 of their last 25 games. Going back to July 24th, that is the best record in the major leagues in that span. Twins, meanwhile, come in at a record of 63-65 on the season. Twins just swept a 3-game series against the Braves in Minnesota, so the Twins come in riding a bit of a hot streak as well. It is MLB Players Weekend over the course of this 3-game series, a 3-day celebration of what makes big leaguers unique. Players will sport custom cleats and bats with the focus on themes like off-field interests, worthy causes, and appreciation to those who help them reach the major leagues. We'll hear from Mason Miller a little bit later about some very cool and meaningful cleats he will be wearing this weekend. Here was Padres third baseman Manny Machado inside the Padre clubhouse earlier today.
Just to be able to have this weekend, take an opportunity to recognize your family and some of the people that helped you get to this point. Who would you like to recognize, and what does it mean to be able to?
Everyone's who's been part of my team. I think this doesn't come easy. It's a hard journey, and there's a lot of people that the list is long of people who helped me get here. So there's a lot of people that I'm grateful for, and I'm just glad that they're on my side and still pulling in the same direction that I am.
And I know you have a special relationship with Peter Seidler, but how excited are you to go ahead and make this new ownership group and hear what you have to say about their vision?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I think, get this past us already and, start this new journey. Obviously, Peter was a big part of me coming here and a big part of this organization for a very long time. And unfortunately, things happened the way they did. But, we're excited to meet this new, me, Jose, and Carranza and start the relationship and see what they have for the future for San Diego.
Where's that you're hoping to see from them?
It's still, those are conversations that, myself and them will have, and obviously with the organization as well. And hopefully at the end of the day, it's what I've always thought about is what's best for the Padre organization, and trying to always put this organization at its best, whether it's clubhouse, players, field, whatever it is going to take to, make us perform better, play better, and be a better organization overall from top to bottom. I think what's most important.
18 games left, I think, at Petco Park. How big is it to play well at home, especially, and create some separation in that race?
I think we just got to play well overall. Doesn't matter if it's home or away. I think we just got to play some good baseball from here to the end.
That was Padres third baseman Manny Machado inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. You heard the question there about the new Padres principal owners, Kwanzaa Jones and Jose Feliciano. And in case you missed the announcement, they will have an introductory press conference on Monday at 1 p.m., and we will carry it live right here on 97.3 The Fan. So it should be a very exciting Monday here at Petco Park. But first things first, the Padres beginning this 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins on this Friday evening. as we get ready for first pitch coming your way at 6:40. Let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, we just heard from Padre third baseman Manny Machado some thoughts on MLB Players Weekend. We'll hear a little bit more from Mason Miller later. Should be fun to watch some of these guys have all kinds of different colored bats and cleats and showing a little personality on the field. I got to ask you, Dave Marcus, he give you like a specially designed headset, something like that? Maybe you've got a little flair on the scorecard. Anything for you, Jesse, on this Players Weekend?
Not a player, Sam. Come on, it's not
right.
Broadcasters Weekend. No, it's yeah. If they ever did a Broadcasters Weekend, maybe we could do something a little cute. But no, I think we all love it, right? It's a neat opportunity for these guys to show off a little bit what they care about. Manny's bat for his sons with the dinosaur theme is particularly awesome. And, I like that. Major League Baseball finally kind of loosened up a little bit a few years ago, generally speaking, letting guys wear, different colored shoes and different colored arm sleeves and, that kind of thing. And then this weekend is really, the opportunity to let everybody go wild and really do whatever they want. So it's neat. You kind of get a little bit of a sense of, what's important to these guys, away from the field. And, whether it's Freddie Fermin tonight, really representing his home country of Venezuela, which of course has gone through some really tough times lately with the earthquake and everything that's come after that. Really trying to bring attention back to that. Because, look, we know how this goes these days, right? It was in the news for a day or two. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people just kind of forget about it and move on. But there's still some really, really tough things going on there. And so an opportunity for Freddie, and I'm sure a lot of Venezuelan players around the major leagues to kind of, bring that back into the forefront a little bit in a lot of people's minds. And then for Manny to, do something cool for his son. They're going to be able to look at those pictures and videos for the rest of their lives. And they're like, hey, you were 3 years old or whatever, and you got to see the dinosaur bat. Back in 2026. So it's a really great weekend. It's a neat opportunity to show off the personality. And, I'm all for anything that allows us to remember the humanity of this game. So often, we kind of get into that bad habit of talking about these guys like they're, just numbers on the back of a baseball card or on a spreadsheet. And, remembering that they are human beings with lives and families and things that they care about is critically important, I think.
Yeah, and Mason Miller wearing cleats that'll get auctioned off after the weekend to support research for type 1 diabetes. Cool Connections, Michael King's foundation as well. We'll hear from Mason a little bit later. So a lot of cool stuff, you're right, Jesse, going on during the course of this MLB Players Weekend. Let's talk about tonight's game. Let's begin with the Twins side of things. I almost feel like this is a little bit similar, little bit different because the Twins are currently sitting in the third AL wildcard spot, but similar in the sense of a little bit different to the Mets, but similar in the sense of they're a team under 500. They just swept the Braves, so they're playing some pretty good baseball, and you just can't get fooled by the record because this is a team that certainly has a lot to play for and is coming off a really nice series sweep.
No, I think the Mets comparison is really apt, and I know you kind of want to walk back from it a little bit because they're in a playoff spot and the Mets are so far away from one. But that's really just because the American League is so different, to put it nicely, than the National League. But I think it's a really, really good comparison. Like the Mets, they're playing their best baseball of the year. Like the Mets, they're more dangerous than their record would indicate. And like the Mets, you have to take them seriously. And then, you add in the playoff component to it, and maybe they're going to be even more dialed in than the Mets were this past week. They're an interesting team. They certainly did not anticipate being in the position that they were in, not only when this year began, but probably a couple of months ago. It's a team that lost 92 games last year. They were closer to the last place White Sox than they were to the first place Guardians when 2025 came to an end. And to their credit, Derek Shelton, his first year as the manager, he's guided them through some things. And they went out, they added a couple of arms at the trade deadline. Their bullpen was just a gas can for most of the year. It's been really, really good the last few weeks. And on top of that, it seems to me, and I'll be honest, like I pay about as little attention to the AL Central as I do any group of teams in baseball over the course of the year, except when we're playing them. And like the thing that I sort of knew about the Twins the last few years was that all their main guys kept getting hurt, right? Like we talk about Byron Buxton, amazing player, always injured. Royce Lewis, great potential, always injured. It seems like the injuries were always the story with the Twins' best players. And guess what? Those guys, yeah, they've spent a little time on the IL this year, but generally speaking, they've been healthier in 2026. And what do you know? Healthier Twins, more wins Twins.
Yep.
And then you factor in the fact that the American League is down this year. And though they are 2 games under 500, they are in playoff position. And here we go, down the stretch with this team.
Yeah, and they have a rookie starting pitcher, left-hander Connor Prelip on the mound today against right-hander Randy Vasquez for the Padres. We'll discuss that pitching matchup and much, much more coming up a little bit later. Jesse, appreciate the time as always. Good insight there on the Twins, and we'll talk to you and Bob Scanlon coming up at 6:30. Thanks so much.
You got it, Sam.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. First pitch is coming up at 6:40 on what should be a very, very nice Friday night for baseball here in downtown San Diego. It is a warm night here in downtown San Diego. I don't think it's quite as warm, quite frankly, as it's been going back into July, but still pretty warm. Was down on the field a little bit earlier, certainly a little bit toasty. So, make sure even, when it's the early evening, you got your sunscreen on, the sun sets it. Sometimes, depending on where you're sitting in the ballpark, shines right on you. So make sure you got the sunscreen, everything dialed in, ready to go for this series opener if you're on the way to the ballpark here tonight at Petco Park. When we come back, we'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. A little bit later, we hear from Mason Miller. We also hear the latest from Joe Musgrove as he continues to progress back towards the Padres starting rotation. We've got a wide array of injury updates for you. A lot to do as we get ready for this series opener against Minnesota. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues after this from downtown San Diego.
You're listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Jack Murphy.
EcoWater SoCal Padres Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming your way at 6:40 p.m. Series opener between the Padres and the Minnesota Twins. Left-hander Connor Prelip on the mound for Minnesota. Right-hander Randy Vasquez on the mound for San Diego. Let's take a look at the Padre lineup here tonight. Looks like this. Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field leading off. Luis Rengifo, the DH tonight, batting second. Manny Machado at third base, batting third. Ty France in the cleanup spot, playing first base. Jackson Merrill in center, batting fifth. Xander Bogaerts up to the sixth spot, playing shortstop. Austin Hayes in left field tonight, batting seventh. Freddie Fermin, the catcher, batting eighth. And Jake Cronenworth at second base, batting ninth. Remember, last time Randy Vasquez pitched, it came in relief. The Padres used an opener in Cleveland and Wandy Peralta. They actually pitched Peralta and Kyle Hart before they got to Vasquez in the third inning of that game. That was a game the Padres lost. That was the Saturday game in Cleveland. So the Padres going a little bit of a different direction today, starting Randy Vasquez, and could be the reason. They've got a couple of righties at the top of the Twins lineup, and Luke Keeschel and Byron Buxton. You've got a switch hitter and Josh Bell after that. So Randy getting the traditional start here today in this series opener. As we get ready for tonight's game, let's go downstairs, hear from Craig Stammen.
Let's pull up a seat in a manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
You guys have 4 quality starts consecutively from your starting pitchers and looking to build off of that today. What do you think is key for Randy to keep that consistency going?
Yeah, I think the one thing that he's done here lately is pound the strike zone. And when he pounds the strike zone, he's got a lot of pitches that have a lot of movement. He can be very effective, and hopefully that leads to another quality start.
For your rotation to have found some form of consistency, especially after the trade deadline and the new guys that you guys have added, how beneficial and important has that been for you guys, especially as you have been doing much better, and I know that that's been a big part of it.
Yeah, I think good starting pitching leads to more wins and closer baseball games that you're in almost every single game. And one benefit that we've seen now is it's definitely given our pen a little bit of a breather, a little bit of break, so where they can be a little bit more fresh and be at the top of their game when we need them.
For Randy, he has served in different capacities. Last time out, he was coming out of the bullpen, now starting a game for you guys again. What are some of the challenges that come along with that? What do you look for from him specifically in this role? Yeah,
it's probably the hardest job of anybody in the rotation right now is him coming in at any time in the game, whether starting the game or coming in middle of the game or after an opener or whatever. But, mentally you got to be very strong. You got to believe in yourself and then be committed to when you go out there that there's no excuses from, when I'm in the game. I'm just in the game, and it's for my job to get outs. And Randy's done a great job of embracing that and doing a really good job of being successful doing it also.
The decision to have Randy start today, was it as simple as, versus last time having a lefty open the game, was it as simple as Cleveland had lefties at the top of the lineup, Minnesota has righties, or was there anything else that went into it from a Randy standpoint?
Yeah, there's, several small factors that go into it, and that's one, obviously one of them. We look at a lot of different statistics and the way our bullpen's set up, and what our best chance to win the game is what we're trying to figure out. Sometimes we're wrong. A lot of times we try to be right, but I think today we felt like Randy getting the start the way he's been pitching lately, he'll get us off to the best start with a chance to win the game.
Craig, you've seen a lot of changes in this organization dating from your time as a player, now as special assistant and manager. How nice to have the finality of meet these new leaders on Monday.
Yeah, it's nice to have, that done with. We don't have to worry about, hey, when's it going to happen? What, all the variables that go with it. It'll be exciting. And when they do introduce themselves to the organization and get to meet them, and the players get to talk to them, and it's not an unknown, and now it's a known, and we can all work together and try to, win a World Series for the Padres.
Have you had a chance to meet them yet, or it's just you?
I've randomly met them when they were touring the ballpark way back in, I think it was January. Before anything happened, it was just part of their tour of the ballpark. But since they've been announced as owners, I've not had any contact with them now.
What would you want to tell them about this team, about this city that they're being part of?
I would tell them it's just a great organization that they've, decided to buy and that they're going to be a part of. And it's a great city, with amazing weather and great people that are around. But I I think the biggest thing about our team is it's a fun team to watch. And they're going to be proud of the product that's on the field, and we're going to work our tails off to make them proud of that.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen earlier today inside the Padres dugout. Sam Levitt back with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to preview today's game series opener between the Padres and the Minnesota Twins. You heard the questions there towards the end on new Padres principal owners, Ponza Jones and Jose Feliciano. Again, we will air their introductory press conference on Monday at 1 p.m. So it should be a very, very exciting press conference. Very, very exciting Monday here at Petco Park as we officially welcome Kwanzaa Jones and Jose Feliciano as the new principal owners of the San Diego Padres. First pitch coming up on this Friday night at 6:40 p.m. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to step up their game? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not. Presented by ASAP Drain Guys and Plumbing, a division of Anderson Commercial, your full-service plumber serving San Diego County.
Well, we've got one guy in the hot category today. That is El Nino, Fernando Tatis Jr. 2 home runs on Tuesday, an RBI double on Wednesday in 21 games since July 28th. He's batting .299, and his .1045 OPS ranks 6th in the major leagues in that span. The not category, well, we actually put for the first time in a while Jackson Merrill in that category. Jackson had been hitting the ball so well before the road trip, but he had a tough road trip. Went 2 for 21 with 10 strikeouts on the 6-game trip. Manny Machado had 6 hits on the trip, but he's only batting .211 with 2 doubles and only 1 home run in his past 20 games. So Manny in the not category, Jackson in the not category. Hopefully both those guys can have big nights in this series opener against Minnesota. And that's a look at who's hot and who's not as we get ready for this ball game on a Friday evening, beautiful Friday evening here in downtown San Diego. Let's take you through some Major League headlines as we go around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, Mariners left-hander, soon-to-be Mariners left-hander, their top prospect, Keith Anderson, will make his Major League debut tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs. The 22-year-old Anderson, one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, and he absolutely dominated the competition in his first minor league season. A 1.06 ERA and 18 starts for Double-A Arkansas. He was the 3rd overall pick in the 2025 draft out of LSU. So Keith Anderson will make his big league debut tomorrow for the Mariners. The Blue Jays' Vladimir Guerrero Jr. passed his final concussion tests, and the Blue Jays slugger is expected to return from the 7-day IL tomorrow. 4 days after 3-time All-Star Ketel Marte, his mysterious disappearance during a road trip in Boston, the D-backs still trying to figure out how to move forward after one of their best players, essentially ghosted his teammates and management during, the home stretch of the season. Torey Lovullo spoke with the media earlier today. D-backs manager, he said, quote, "Once I saw what was unfolding, I became extremely frustrated. I felt betrayed, and that's a whole different type of pain and frustration, but I'm through that," end quote. Lovullo said he met with Marte yesterday along with general manager Mike Hazen and Marte's agent. The 32-year-old second baseman was then put on the 10-day IL because of a left knee inflammation issue. That happened shortly after the meeting. It does sound like once it comes off the IL, Marte will return to the Diamondbacks. So certainly what's been a weird situation with the Diamondbacks and arguably their best player in Ketel Marte. Marte now officially on the IL with left knee inflammation. Yankees left-hander Max Fried is scheduled to throw off a mound tomorrow for the first time since landing on the IL because of a reoccurrence of a bone bruise in his left elbow. And finally, the Kansas City Royals' quest to move to a new downtown ballpark in Kansas City cleared a major hurdle earlier this week when Kansas City Council approved a $600 million commitment to help make that new downtown ballpark happen. So that is some of the headlines from around the major leagues on this Friday. A full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming your way in a little bit. When we come back, we hear from Padre closer Mason Miller. We also hear from Joe Musgrove a little bit later as well. First pitch coming your way at 6:40 right here on the Padres Radio Network.
Hello, friends. Woodsy here. If your kitchen...
Padres baseball coming up here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Welcome back into our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here from Petco Park. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Visit EcoWaterSoCal.com or call 760-350-3338. That's 760-350-3338. First pitch coming your way at 6:40. Series opener between the Padres and the Minnesota Twins. Randy Vasquez on the mound for the Padres here today. Rookie left-hander Connor Prelip on the mound for Minnesota. We'll talk much more about those starting pitchers coming up in just a little bit. Right now, let's take a look at today's injury report.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
A lot of updates from Padre manager Craig Stammen on the injury front today. Jason Adam, who has been on the IL with a shoulder strain. He did speak with the media earlier today. May play a little bit of that for you later in the series, but here was Craig Stammen. He first begins the latest on Padre reliever Jason Adam.
Yeah, he started throwing, so you go on your normal throwing progression. That leads to bullpens, and then bullpens the game. So he's in that process right now.
And then just in terms of maybe when he might be getting to bullpens, I know he has to throw off the mound and everything next, but do you know when that might be happening for him?
No, not exactly. I mean, he's going to throw today, and then we'll see how he feels and see if he can throw tomorrow. And then that's kind of how we evaluate it every day.
Is there anything new on Nick Pivetta?
Yeah, Nick pitched in a game yesterday, actually. Bridge League game through 2 innings, felt great. So, nice update to his progress, and we'll see, how he feels today, when his bullpen will be next, and then when possibly another game will be.
And then for Joe, I know that he said he's going to throw a bullpen this weekend, and then the plan will be to have him go out on a last rehab start. Is that correct?
Yeah. Joe's a little bit longer this time in between starts. He had a little back issue pop up in the middle when he was working out. Get that back cleared up, and then he'll be back out there.
And then last one, Andujar. I know that he's started swinging. Is there anything new to that? I know the last one we saw, it's been a few days since we got him.
Yeah, probably similar to Jason Adam, where it's like continuing a throwing progression, he's continuing a hitting progression. So, and it's very fluid and day to day. Feels good one day. We'll see if he feels good the next, and then progress from there.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen. Earlier today, a lot of injury updates there, including an interesting note there. Nick Pivetta did throw in a Bridge League game in Arizona yesterday. So we'll see what the next step is for Nick Pivetta, and a lot of other productive updates there from Craig Stammen as we continue to get updates on both Joe Musgrove, Nick Pivetta, and everybody else on the IL for the Padres. We will continue to pass those updates along. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We do have one final already today. Brewers beat the Braves 2-1 in Milwaukee. Jacob Mizorowski, 6 scoreless innings for the win in that game for the Brew Crew. We've got a lot of games going on right now. Phillies ahead of the Cardinals 5-4 in Philadelphia in the 8th inning. Yankees lead the Blue Jays 3-1 in New York in the 6th inning. Red Sox 5, Giants 4 at Fenway Park in the 6th inning. Nationals lead the Marlins 1-0 in Miami in the 7th. The Orioles ahead of the Rays 5-3 in Baltimore in the 8th inning. Mets lead the White Sox 3-0 in Chicago in the 5th inning. Tigers and the Royals scoreless in the 4th inning in Kansas City. A's and the Astros are scoreless in Houston in the 4th inning. Angels and the Rangers scoreless in the 4th inning in Arlington. Rockies lead the Guardians 1-0 in Cleveland in Colorado in the 2nd. We've got 3 games yet to begin aside from this one. Reds and the D-backs in Arizona at 6:40. Pirates and the Dodgers in LA at 7:10, and the Cubs and the Mariners at 7:10 p.m. in Seattle. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Friday. We will have much more on all those games a little bit later during our post-game coverage. Well, Joe Musgrove continues to work his way back, hopefully very soon to the Padres rotation. As you'll hear from Joe in a moment, he will make at least one more rehab start coming up here soon. He did throw 70 pitches for AAA El Paso late last week. So a little bit of extra rest for Joe. Again, you'll hear from him in a moment, but Joe Musgrove continues to take some positive steps as he gets very close to returning finally to the Padres rotation. Here was Joe in his own words earlier today inside the Padre clubhouse, the latest on his rehab process.
Head out for another rehab start in a couple days here. But things been going really well. Been feeling really good, bouncing back pretty well from the start. So, yeah, moving along well.
Were you hoping at some point to make that next start here in the bigs, or was it easy to be patient this time?
I mean, I was hoping for it, but, the conversations we've had and how long this road's been and where we're at as a team now, having the additions of Casey and Robbie, I think that allows the team to be a little more comfortable with making sure that I'm in the right spot physically and, pitch count and inning-wise. So, realistically, I didn't think it was an opportunity to come back. I would have loved it to go that way, but I think 6 innings, 85 pitches seems like a reasonable mark for me. So hopefully that's what we'll get to in this next one and then look at returning here.
So you think that's if things go well, that's the final one for you?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy. It's not really up to me, but physically I feel really good. Been bouncing back well, increasing pitch count and got my velocity up to a higher spot than it's been in a long time. So, naturally a little bit more soreness with the recovery and stuff, but I feel like I've, leveled out pretty well and getting back to a normal feeling of what I felt between starts. So
Hey, Joe, beyond the pitch count and the innings number, is there something more nuanced you're still looking for as far as feel, pitch shapes as you work your way back?
I feel like the shapes have been really good, just inconsistent in like landing them in the zone. I feel like I've always been really good, and a big part of my game is being able to land the breaking balls when I need them to get me back into leverage counts or to get me back into a count that I might be behind in. So I haven't felt super consistent with that as far as landing the curveball at a higher clip for strikes. I've had a few better ones in the last outing in El Paso where I was able to get to 2-strike locations, which I had struggled with in Reno, not really getting a lot of swing and miss. So a little more of the swing and miss there. But ultimately, I think the more I can land those breaking balls in zone more consistently, I kind of get guys engaged in that speed, and then I can use the fastball and open up the zone a little more. So those are all things that typically come, with more and more outings. Look at the spring training buildup. It's usually the last outing or two where you start to see that stuff really, sharpen up. So I've kind of, been aware of it, but not stressing too much, just trusting that the work that I'm putting in and the reps are going to get me into a better spot with that. And I've seen, improvements every time I go out. So I'd say that's probably the last piece is just the overall command of the breaking balls, the quality command, not just for strikes, but getting to the spots I want to.
You were on the 5-day rotation. You just got off that.
Yeah.
Was that already predetermined to take a little extra break here?
I mean, not necessarily this time around, but at some point in this rehab, there was going to be a start where we would push it a few days and give me, 6-7 days to recover. With the velo increase and the pitch count increase, the inning increase, being at like more of a high end workload, we just felt like this was the right time to do it. I came out of it a little more sore than normal, nothing drastic, but picked up a little back injury, like a tweak in the gym that was put me out for like a day or two, just having trouble rotating. But that's all cleared up. I feel like I'm back to normal. So hopefully, bullpen tomorrow and then look at schedule on the next rehab to start.
Extra velocity is a good problem to have.
Yeah, my body hadn't felt that in a while. I haven't moved in those ranges and at that speed in a while. So I think there's going to naturally be a little bit more soreness, but it was more the back that held me up for a couple of days than it was the arm. So.
That was Padres pitcher Joe Musgrove inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. So the updates continue to be good on Joe when he makes that next rehab assignment. Rehab start, I should say. We'll let you know when and where that is. And hopefully, well, who knows? Could be the final rehab start for Joe Musgrove. And could be from that point, we start seeing Joe in the major leagues again. So we'll keep an eye on that. First pitch coming up at 6:40 here at Petco Park as we begin, or I should say, we do begin this 3-game series against the Minnesota Twins. Let's give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Rock and Block Turf and Hardscapes. Beautiful artificial turf that stays green all year long. Trust and experience. The job isn't done until it's done right. See them at rockandblocklandscape.com.
Key number 1, win the bullpen battle. You heard Jesse talk about this a little bit earlier. The Twin bullpen has been much, much better since the trade deadline. They did really a good job revamping their bullpen. The Twins bullpen has a 2.99 ERA going back to July 28th. That ranks 6th in the major leagues in that span. AJ Minter, who they traded for, has a 1.04 ERA in 10 appearances since being acquired from the Mets at the deadline. Yoendrys Gomez has converted each of his 20 save opportunities this season. Meanwhile, the Padres, as you know, they also have a great bullpen. They're 52-1 this season when leading after 7 innings. San Diego's 3.58 bullpen ERA is 5th in the major leagues. Bradley Rodriguez, a sub-2 ERA in his last 23 appearances. Mason Miller, you know about him, so on and so on. The point is, the bullpen's really important in this series. They're both pretty good, better than pretty good. They're both really, really good. Whose bullpen's going to win? Can the Padres win the bullpen battle in this series? That's key number 1, and certainly a key here tonight as well. Key number 2, be good against Bell and Buxton. Josh Bell, during a career-best 22-game on-base streak, he's hitting .309 with 7 extra base hits and 15 RBIs. Byron Buxton, he's just 3 for 20 with 6 strikeouts in 6 games since returning from the IL after dealing with a hip injury. But Byron Buxton this season, 25 home runs, hitting .256. Very dangerous hitter. You got to be good against Bell and Buxton. Key number 3, Randy V back in a starter's spot. Last outing out of the bullpen in Cleveland, quite frankly, it was his worst outing in a little bit. 5 innings, 4 runs given up on 7 hits. The 2 starts he made prior, 11 combined innings, just 2 earned runs given up, 4 hits. His 4 outings prior in total, a 1.47 ERA in 18+ innings. So getting Randy V back into a groove as a starter, that is key number 3. And key number 4, RISP. Padres got to be better in that department today. Padres went just 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position on Wednesday in New York. That was a big reason they lost that game to the New York Mets on Wednesday. And that is a look at our keys to today's game. When we come back, we hear from Padre closer Mason Miller, plus we take a deeper look at today's Twins starting pitcher, left-hander Connor Prelip. First pitch coming up at 6:40 here at Petco Park. Series opener between the Padres and the Twins coming your way on the Padres Radio Network.
We'll be right back to the
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. First pitch is coming up at 6:40 here in downtown San Diego. Series opener between the Padres and the Twins. Let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovements.com.
What to watch for in this series opener? Can the Padres figure out a left-hander, a rookie starting pitcher they've never seen before? That is Twins lefty Connor Prelip, who will make his 18th start of his rookie season. He's already thrown 87 2/3 innings with the Twins this year. If you include the starts he made at AAA St. Paul before he was called up, he's pitched more than 100 innings. Keep in mind, he's only thrown 112 2/3 total innings in the minors over the last 3 seasons combined entering this year. So could fatigue be setting in for Prelip? He's coming off his worst start of the year on Saturday against the Phillies. Gave up 8 runs on 8 hits in 5 innings. He's in fact given up 14 runs in a little span here, 15+ innings. So the signs are pointing to Prelip maybe starting to struggle in this rookie season. Can the Padres take advantage of that here today? That's what to watch for in this series opener. As we said, it is MLB Players Weekend across Major League Baseball, an opportunity for players to sport custom cleats and bats with a focus on themes like off-field interest, worthy causes, and appreciation to those who helped the players reach the major leagues. Here was Mason Miller inside the Padres clubhouse talking about some very special cleats that he'll be wearing this Players Weekend.
The cleat centered around type 1 diabetes. We have the awareness ribbon here, a little T1D on the back. Pretty simple, colorful, but they will be auctioned and they are going to benefit the King of the Hill Foundation.
And when it comes to this weekend, I think a good opportunity to shout out some of the people that have helped you get to this point. When you think about your journey, who are some of the people who have been most instrumental that you'd like to thank?
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool opportunity really to take that point of reflection. And, you get several of those every single year, but something as public as this is really nice. But, obviously coaches along the way, my parents, of course, from, a very young age, supporting me and encouraging me and motivating me to chase my dream in baseball. And, really thankful to them and coaches too. You have coaches that can negatively affect you or negatively, build your view of a game or a sport, and coaches that really make you fall in love with it. So I'm really grateful to all of them.
When it comes to your cleats, what was the conversation with Michael? I know obviously the two of you share that passion for spreading awareness about type 1, but did you tell him that you wanted to specifically benefit King of the Hill Foundation with this, or what did that look like?
Yeah, I mean, I've worn cleats in the past that, I've auctioned to benefit type 1 foundation. But, obviously him and Sheila being here now and being able to help them. And, I had planned to auction the cleats. I didn't really have a foundation in mind. And I asked him how he felt about it. I didn't want to step on his toes at all because I figured he was doing that as well. And, he was excited about it. So seems like something close to us and something that's really meaningful. So I'm happy to do it.
That was Mason Miller, Padres closer, inside the Padres clubhouse, talking about some very cool cleats that he'll be wearing this weekend. They'll get auctioned off, as Mason said, after the weekend, with the proceeds of that auction going to the King of the Hill Foundation. That is Michael King's foundation that's promotes research for type 1 diabetes, a really great cause. Michael's wife, Sheila, also has type 1 diabetes like Mason Miller. So really cool joint effort there from all parties. So a lot of good stuff there inside the clubhouse. We appreciate you tuning in to our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we send things to Jesse and Bob Scanlon. They have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Baseball and Miller Lite. It's the stuff of